I found this very interesting. There's this search term that started to trend or increased in the total number of searches right at the beginning of 2020. And this is a worldwide trend. I noticed it was in the States, and then I checked worldwide. So the chart you're looking at, nomogram you're looking at here, is from 2004 to present, and it's worldwide. The search term actually is shadow work, which I think is just totally fascinating that it took a worldwide pandemic to really encourage people to do shadow work. And I do remember as it was happening and things were getting canceled and we were starting to spend more time alone and indoors and avoiding groups and so forth, I do remember people really finding it challenging. And to say the least, everybody knows this worldwide. It was something we all shared, the knowledge of that. Personally, I remember thinking I was a bit surprised that how heavy it was for many people. But I guess I also realized that so many people use interaction with others and relationship and connection and so forth to stabilize their identity. Because for me, it didn't seem to change much. I spent a lot of time, especially then, probably more than now, I spent a lot of time in quietude, meditating by myself in solitude. I spent time with others as well, but it didn't really significantly change my interaction that much because like I said, I spent a lot of time in quietude. But what fascinates me about this graph is that the trend changed significantly in a very short time between March and July of 2020. And since the increase, it stayed essentially the same with a few spikes, but it's basically leveled off and stayed, at the same increased rate, significant increase over the baseline over the last 20 years. And that's encouraging to me, actually. It tells me that this worldwide pandemic, this reset that we were all put through, this disruption we were put through, that forced us to go through uncomfortable things, meaning we had to spend time alone. We had to face ourselves in ways maybe we hadn't before. We had to sort of face our demons in a lot of ways. As is the case with the individual, we see this on a societal level. With the individual, I often say a disruption in life, a tragedy even, or things that are very unexpected happening are often what set you on a path to self-exploration, to deeper work, to shadow work, and so forth. This graph proves that that's happened on a global level, which is really amazing. I also see that in the modalities that are appearing, that psychedelics, they've been increasing in popularity over the last several years, but a market increase in the last 5 for sure. Psychedelic use, not just for recreation, but as medicine, for journeying, for exploration, for shadow work, for therapeutic work. Widespread adoption of these substances into culture, into medicine, and so forth is happening, and that's a big part of it. But also other modalities, somatic modalities, becoming very mainstream. Meditation and mindfulness were rather popular even before 2020. But those, as maybe a baseline for all of this, now we're doing even deeper shadow work. So it's very encouraging to me that all of this is culminating in this societal interest in doing shadow work and looking deeper into ourselves, into our fixations, into our repressed emotional spaces, into our traumas and so forth. And I'm encouraged. I'm really encouraged. On this channel, we talk about it a good amount, and I try to really put forward methods, processes, opportunities for people to do the shadow work. I have probably my largest playlist is on shadow work, emotion and shadow work, if you want to check that out. So there are really good opportunities just through references that I make in this channel, through connections you can make to the different organizations I talk about, insidecircle.org, TRE, and many other types of modalities we talk about. But I just want to say that when it comes to the process of awakening that I talk about, awakening, realization, integration of the insights, they really have to go hand in hand with shadow work at some point. And that's, something I tell people early on. If you're really like on fire with the Dharma, if you really feel like you really have to move beyond the the sense of the limited self, the thought-based self, and that's your prime directive, that's the one thing that's the most important to you, then it's kind of a strike while the iron's hot thing. I tell people, you don't necessarily have to do shadow work starting out. If that's what you're oriented toward, waking up and the one-pointed approach, or just really surrendering to that makes the most sense to you, then great, go for it. You don't have to like prepare for that in any way at all. It's available all the time, of course. But do know that once that first shift happens, the shadow work will become absolutely necessary. You're going to start doing it whether you like it or not. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel things so much more directly than you used to. You're going to feel, you're going to find that it's much harder to hide anything from yourself. You're going to feel this process unfolding and propagating itself whether you like it or not. All of this is going to happen. So I find that the awakening process or integration of awakening, shadow work, they really do go hand in hand, and the deeper realization goes, the more that is the case. So just a reminder. And I know that occasionally that doesn't land for people. I have met people who have told me a few years after the fact that when they hear me saying that, they find it annoying, they find it unnecessary. They thought spirituality and all this awakening stuff and all this Buddhism was, the whole point was to not wallow in all of your problems and keep reifying these relative issues and your traumas and so forth. And all of that is sort of made up anyway, and you can transcend it all. And I get that, but I often will have people tell me in retrospect, like, oh man, I really didn't get what you were saying until the shadow material really started coming to the surface and I couldn't ignore it. Then I had to work through it. I had to face it. I had to confront it. I had to feel it. And then that's when the real deepening starts to happen. Now, I've had this conversation with people many times, and they, again, tell me in retrospect often. My own personal experience, there was a lot of shadow work, lots of shadow work. It just had to be done. I had to feel through all this, and in a sense, the deeper the awakening initially, the more, I don't know about in a sense, it's just this way from what I see. It's the more intense the shadow work really is. So use the resources you have. Use help. There is help. There's good relational help here. Use it because it's daunting to do on your own. You can, and a lot of it is going to be on your own, but it can be very helpful to use resources when needed. Especially when you have a lot of trauma or you have complex trauma or pervasive childhood trauma. In those cases, like you'll work through it with deep enough realization and enough time. It will work itself out, but it could take more than this lifetime, really. I mean, the traumas can be so pervasive, and I think the biggest challenge with that is they can have their own defense mechanisms, and so you won't see that it needs to be done. You won't want to do it. You won't know you need to do it. And you could even take on the role of being a facilitator yourself without really fully doing it. So for all these reasons, just give yourself the gift of getting the relational help you need if you need it, because it's going to make this so much easier. It's going to make it so much smoother. And when I see that trend on Google, that's what it tells me, that people are searching the term shadow work. People are interested in it and consistently interested in it. They want to see into the shadow. They want to see what they're hiding from themselves. They want to turn and look. They want to feel into what's being overlooked, and so forth. And so this is it. The beauty of this also is, if you don't feel that strong, overriding impetus to wake up now, that kind of being on fire with the Dharma, if that's not happening for you right now, but you are interested, that's fine too. The shadow work is here. Like, you can do it. So there's no wrong time to do shadow work. That's the other point to this. There's no wrong time. And at some point you will do it. So if you feel it coming, work with it. So this really comes down to what's most prominent for you. What's most prominent in your experience? Work with what's here. Work with what comes forward. Work with what appears in your experience, because what appears in your experience is essentially the only thing that really matters. It's the only thing that's here. It's the only thing you have access to. The mind will come up with all kinds of dreams of later and past and so forth, but ultimately what needs to be addressed will come up here. It will come up as shadow. It will come up as emotional pain. It will come up as confusion. It will come up as being triggered. It will come up as reactivity. It will come up as resistance, the shadow material. Other things will come up. It won't always be that. You may have periods of relative ease. You may have periods of profound interconnectedness and heart openness. This is all great. Enjoy what's here. Enjoy it while it's here, and be willing to let it go, and be willing to trust that things will change, evolve, and that impermanence is actually the nature of experience. That it is all going to change. It's all in flux, and that's okay. You don't have to hold on to anything. Ultimately, be willing to address and engage what appears, and also be willing to let go consistently and open-heartedly. The more you let go, the more your heart is open to anything else arising, anything else appearing in this moment. I think that's all I have to say for the moment. Yeah, thanks for listening.